up, vinyl community? This video is for Hawkwind fans, and hopefully for some new ones that have never heard of Hawkwind will check it out after watching this video. I've got over 20 titles to show, and I'm gonna mix it up with some needle drops and some comments and also some artwork by Alexander Matthews. Now, I'm just a Hawkling myself, only discovering the band this year because of a album collection that my friend gave me. Captain hooked me up with some awesome, outstanding albums and over 20 Hawkwind albums. So what I've been doing is going through and listening to them over the last few months, making some notes, slapping them on Post-its on the back of the albums, so I can put this video together all at once. I really hope the Hawkwind fans out there enjoy it, and I hope we can pick up some new fans along the way. Now, they are it's a British band. Hawkwind is British, and they are pioneers in the science fiction influenced sci-fi space rock. And they started in 1970, and that's where I'm going to start with the record collection. Now, they've been around for over 45 years. They've had just as many people come and go in the band, and I believe it's over 80 albums in their catalog. So with that many albums, you'd think you'd see Hawkwind in the stores or at record shows a lot more than you do. At least I rarely ever do. I've seen one or two pop up here and there, and that's it. So if you're new to Hawkwind, hopefully this will, I highly recommend checking them out. If you see Hawkwind at a show or at a record fair, pick it up. You're going to really enjoy it, especially if you like prog rock, early Pink Floyd, psych rock, psych pop, gong. And some prog fans will get into this. And this may be a little bit too far out there for some folks, but some of the early stuff is some hard 70s rock that goes off on these little, space voyages and comes back down to Earth, and then later on they get a little bit more heavy metal. So they're well respected from both sides. Right before I show the albums, I picked up this really cool magazine. This is Shindig magazine. It's released in the UK. This edition is called Interstellar Overdrive, and it talks about space rock featuring Hawkwind, Pink Floyd, Gong, Joe Meek, and many more. So this is just really great magazine. I'm going to reference this a couple times, especially with this cartoon here. But there's just this great here's some of my post-it notes now. Great article here on Hawkwind. It doesn't break it down album by album, but it starts off with the first album, talks about the band, and then gets into some nice interviews here with a couple of the guys. And then the cartoon inside features kind of like the history of the band. Alright, this is Hawkwind's self-titled first album, 1970. Their lineup at this time was Hugh Lloyd Langdon, Thomas Krimble, Nick Turner, Dick Mick, Terry Ollis, and Dave Brock. Many musicians would come and go, but more notably, Lemmy Kilmister was with the band for about 4 years, and Ginger Baker came in for about one album, if you believe it or not. This is a US press on United Artists. And every one of these albums in this collection are VG Plus on the sleeve and the vinyl at one end of the spectrum or the other. Some of them may have a little bit of wear on the outer sleeve, but all of them play very nice with very minimal surface noise. So it's just been a blast to listen to them. So this is their self-titled album. I don't know if this one, if you wanted to start with Hawkwind, I don't know if I would start with the first one. This one I would come back and circle around it after you've checked out some of the later ones. Alright, this is Hawkwind's second album, In Search of Space. This is actually a US second press on Liberty. The first press has die-cut sleeve, and I believe it has a booklet with it. This was released just in time to have, Lemmy joined the band just in time to get in on the studio cuts, and also recorded the song Silver Machine, which is an outstanding track. And I have the single in my want list for sure, and I'll put a link to it below the video here. And it's just a killer track that wasn't added to the album. But Lemmy's on here, and it's a really good album. But you can, if you pick up the 2004 reissue of this, it does include the Silver Machine track. Alright, this is Hawkwind's third album, Doremi Fossa La Ti Do. Killer album, and my favorite until I got to the next one. Great studio cuts. Down Through the Night is a track that just instantly got stuck in my head, and I had to spin it a couple times. Lemmy's on this one, and just a great album. Got the logo on there, and Eli just recently found a copy of this at the Northside Record Fair in Cincinnati or Hamilton, Ohio, which is a really, really lucky find. But this is on United Artists. Great album, outstanding. If you're going to pick one up, I highly recommend this one. This is Hawkwind's 4th album, Space Ritual. This is a killer double LP. Recorded in 1972. It's a quad fold, right? It's a total fold out. So this whole entire album folds out, revealing the artwork and the LPs. And it's just killer. Great live work, and a lot of songs from Doremi Fossa La Ti Do are on this one. But Space Ritual, killer album. All right, next up is 1974's Hall of the Mountain Grail. It's on the turntable right now. The track on there, Lost Johnny with Lemmy's vocals, is just killer. Pick this one up. I mean, look at the album artwork, is really cool. It's got that spaceship crashed in some shallow water, and it's just a killer album from Hawkwind. And this killer albums are starting to add up, aren't they?
We have malfunction on screens. Switching to computer override now.
This is their next album, Warrior on the Edge of Time. This is a really good album. When I listen to it, it has a little bit of has like this voice going through it, sound effects, a little bit too much for me. And then there's some avant-garde saxophone thrown in here. A lot of noises, a lot of different sounds, but it all seems to be pulled together. It's a really good listen, except I wish I could take out some of those, the voice gets a little bit annoying after a while. And this is when I start getting away from my US presses, and I start going into the United Artists in the UK. So this is a UK press, Warrior on the Edge of Time. All right, next up is Hawkwind, Roadhawks. Pretty killer album cover there, I must say. This is a UK press, very clean condition, really nice. And they do Silver Machine on this, but by this time Lemmy's gone, and I really missed his vocals on the track. All right, next up, I've got thrilling stories of science and fantasy, astounding sounds, amazing music, and the cover here is reminiscent of a Pulp Fiction novel book. It's really cool. It's an import from the UK. This is on the Charisma label. This is actually the UK Miss Press. The front is actually the back, so they got it reversed on this one. On this issue, and there's that Charisma label. And the inner sleeve is really cool too. It's polylined inner sleeve, and then it has these like magazine ads from the 30s or 40s, 50s, something like that. But if you look through and read some of these, they're pretty funny. Super Jiu-Jitsu, how to get tough double quick. One of the cool things on here is that the song Curb Crawler is credited for mixed by David Gilmour. So David Gilmour got his hands on that one. All right, this is Hawkwind's 8th album, Quark's Strangeness and Charm. It's about a relationship taking place over the span of light years. I went very quickly through this album. I didn't care much for it. It's on a U.S. press sire. It was a little too poppy for me. It was very pop-friendly, pop psych. So it was okay. It just had been preceded by a lot better music for me. All right, this next one is Hawk Lords. Due to some infighting and some lawsuits and some arguing going back and forth with the band, they changed the name to Hawk Lords for this release. This one's called 25 Years. It's more of a new wavy kind of sound, more of a pop sound. And this is a US press on Charisma. Then we have Hawkwind Live in '79. This is a really good live album. I really enjoyed the second side. And this is a UK press on bronze. Really like the second side on this one. What are the tracks on that? Brainstorm, Lighthouse, Master of the Universe, and then Silver Machine to close it out. But really good live album. Then that's the last one I'm going to show. Then I'm going to take a break and have to do a second part some other time. But this will conclude my part 1 of the Hawkwind series. But this really changed the gears for me. I mean, they just really changed gears here. This is Levitation. This is a 1980, and this is on a it's a UK press on the bronze again. But Levitation is just a really good album. It's featuring Ginger Baker on drums, and it's just killer. It's more up tempo, a little heavier, a little bit more heavy, harder rock. And if you got the first issue of this, it was actually on blue vinyl. So if you have blue vinyl, you do have a first press, which I don't. What else did I write down here? That's all the notes I had on that one. So now you have Hawkwind from 1970 to 1980, I believe, 81. And that takes care of the first part. So what we'll do is spend some more time jamming to Hawkwind. I understand that they get a little harder, a little more heavy metal here into the 80s. And be able to share those with you here in the next part. So thanks for hanging with me for the first episode here of Hawkwind. I was going to try and do it all in one. It's just way too much. So thanks for checking into the channel. Be safe out there, and stay warm if you're in the cooler climates. So everybody out in the VC, take care, and keep listening to music.